For over 2 years, the conflict in Ukraine, spurred by the Russian invasion, has vividly illustrated the intensity of modern warfare. While much discourse has centered on advanced technologies like long-range missiles, drones, and air defenses, the equally significant but less sophisticated topic of decoy targets has largely remained unexplored, for understandable reasons. Both Ukrainian and Russian forces maintain a veil of secrecy around their decoy tactics and their effectiveness rates, keeping such information tightly guarded. Insights into the effectiveness of decoys are scarce, but one notable source is China. Chinese battlefield analysis suggests that maintaining a 1-to-1 ratio between real and decoy targets can increase the survivability of friendly forces and equipment by 40%. Additionally, they claim that deploying 3 decoys to 1 real target can escalate enemy munitions consumption by 70%, while further enhancing survivability by 50%. These figures underscore the wisdom of the adage famously attributed to a wise Chinese strategist called Sun Tzu, who once said, "All warfare is based on deception." This strategy involves creating illusions of inability, inactivity, or distance to mislead the enemy. The tactics surrounding decoys are diverse and intriguing. Drone operators can estimate decoy weight at a glance, Russians construct easily identifiable fake camps, candles are used to deceive enemies into expending ammunition, and Russian decoy tanks are humorously dubbed rubber product number 2. The Ukrainian doctrine regarding decoy usage is straightforward. Saturate the battlefield with as many decoys as possible to divert Russian fire from high-value targets. A prime example of this tactic is the widespread use of fake HIMARS rocket launchers. In a notable incident, Russia claimed to have destroyed 44 HIMARS launchers, only to later realize they had been misled by decoy warfare. The revelation of this tactic's success came to light when a Czech company, called Inflatable Decoys, disclosed their production of around 35 inflatable HIMARS launchers per month, hinting at their potential deployment in Ukraine. While the use of inflatable decoys may seem novel, historical precedents exist. During World War II, thousands of inflatable decoys were employed to fabricate phantom armies, diverting German attention from Normandy in the lead-up to the Allies' D-Day invasion. These decoys played a crucial role in convincing the Germans that the Normandy landings were merely a diversion, delaying their reinforcement efforts. This example illustrates the strategic use of decoys, prompting questions about their contemporary applications. One primary reason for employing decoys is to safeguard military personnel by diverting enemy fire away from real targets. Each rocket aimed at a decoy represents one less threat to human lives. An interesting survival tactic is bringing mannequins onto the battlefield, theoretically increasing survival odds by 40%, a strategy adopted by both Russian and Ukrainian forces. During the Battle of Kharkiv, Ukrainians strategically positioned mannequins in trenches and fake checkpoints to confuse and outmaneuver the advancing Russian 1st Tank Army, ultimately forcing their retreat from the city. Another rationale for utilizing decoys is to compel the enemy to squander resources and ammunition on false targets, such as expensive drones and artillery shells. For instance, the Russian Lancet drone, priced at over $30,000, and the Krasnopol precision artillery round, costing more than $35,000, are costly assets that could be wasted on decoys. Considering the economic advantage, decoy usage becomes a logical choice, especially when compared to the high cost of real military hardware. On a tactical level, decoys create a perception of strength, prompting adversaries to disperse their forces and divert attention to less strategic areas. Additionally, decoys can serve as distractions, buying valuable time ranging from several hours to days. However, the effectiveness of decoys has been challenged in the era of high-definition television and advanced drone technology. Traditional decoys, like inflatable ones, are easily detected by skilled FPV operators, necessitating the development of higher-quality alternatives made from materials like wood and metal. Despite being more costly to produce, these sophisticated decoys remain economical and effective. Decoy designers prioritize the destruction of decoys over their production numbers, as a decoy's failure to attract enemy fire indicates its inadequacy. Consequently, modern decoys feature intricate details, including spinning antennas and electromagnetic signature emitters, to enhance realism. Some decoys even incorporate heating elements to deceive thermal cameras on FPV drones. Innovations like these highlight the evolving nature of decoy warfare, where even seemingly mundane items like candles can play a role in creating realistic battlefield simulations. However, in actuality, these are merely Russian mannequins designed to divert the attention of Ukrainian FPV pilots. Additionally, there are more mannequins spotted on boats, in the forest, engaging in what seems like fishing activities. An interesting twist is the use of candles placed inside some mannequins by Russians to deceive Ukrainian FPV drones equipped with expensive thermal cameras. Ukrainian FPV pilots acknowledge the ingenuity of this Russian tactic and recount instances where they fell for it in the past. Despite their realistic appearance, decoys lack one crucial aspect: real weight. For instance, the M777 decoy, constructed from wooden sewage pipes, weighs only 400 kilos, which is 10 times lighter than the authentic howitzer. Similarly, decoy tanks are significantly lighter than real ones, posing a challenge as they do not leave track marks on roads or grass, making their falseness apparent. However, inspired by real estate principles, the placement of decoys is equally vital. According to Ukrainians, positioning decoys where real equipment was once stationed capitalizes on existing environmental cues, enhancing their credibility. Russians employ both strategic tactics, placing decoys where genuine equipment once operated and creating entirely fabricated positions. This strategic maneuvering aims to counter the constant reconnaissance surveillance characteristic of the modern battlefield, which often compromises the element of surprise. An example includes a complex fake refueling position orchestrated by Russians, complete with mannequins simulating various tasks, camouflage nets, and staged scenes of mundane activities like laundry drying and a mannequin using the bathroom. Despite their obvious artificiality, Russians deliberately construct these fake positions, knowing that Ukrainians will not waste resources attacking them. The rationale behind this counterintuitive strategy is to engage in a waiting game, exploiting the uncertainty and psychological pressure it imposes on the enemy. Russians often employ a strategic waiting game, leaving fake tanks and mannequins in place for a day, or even a week before replacing them with actual forces. This tactic catches Ukrainian forces off guard, as they become accustomed to the presence of the fake positions. In some instances, Russians have rigged fake compounds and trenches, filled with mannequins, with booby traps triggered upon Ukrainian entry. Decoys are just one component of modern warfare's broader toolkit, alongside mobility, concealment, and deception. Regarding mobility, aerial and satellite surveillance facilitates real-time reconnaissance, necessitating the movement of identified fake targets to maintain effectiveness. Concealment tactics vary widely, exemplified by Russian efforts to disguise a mortar position as a grave, ensuring effectiveness regardless of circumstances. Smoke screens are still utilized for concealing force movements, although Ukrainians challenge their effectiveness by firing cluster munitions. Deception tactics include painting fake aircraft on airfields, or deploying inert missiles and inexpensive drones to divert Ukrainian air defenses. Identifying decoys often occurs post-targeting, upon analyzing footage of their destruction. For instance, an unnatural green color, an absence of personnel near a Ukrainian artillery system exposed it as a decoy. In another scenario, Russian forces mistakenly targeted a decoy, evident from the absence of secondary explosions and the sight of plywood fragments. The nickname Rubber Product No. 2 for Russian inflatable decoy tank stems from a peculiar Soviet naming convention, where every item manufactured was assigned a number. Rubber Product No. 1 denoted gas masks, Rubber Product No. 3 was erasers, and Rubber Product No. 2 referred to condoms. This quirky historical reference highlights the Soviet penchant for number designations, drawing an amusing parallel between decoy tanks and early Soviet condoms, both made of rubber but offering vastly different forms of protection. What are your thoughts on this matter? Share them with us in the comment section below.